as you guys can see, we're here in the SS, and we're headed up to Mooresville Dragway, actually. And, you know, we just finished the ZL1 torque converter install, the transcooler install, that Camaro transmission pan, and we had the car retuned by PCM. You know, they did a street tune on it. So I've decided to take this Thursday afternoon and go do some runs on the 8th mile. So I actually didn't even bring the spare skinnies. I just wanted to kind of test this one thing at a time. So we've got the ET Street Arts behind us, as you guys can see in the back seat. You know, so we've got the Motegis with the 17s on there. I'll actually have a link to that video in the description above. And yeah, so we're just gonna throw the drag radials on, play around with tire pressure, play around with, you know, launch RPM, and see what happens. Because last time I tried, you know, messing around with some of the settings, you know, with what I launched it or whatnot, I actually did a burnout on the starting line, and then it took off. So, you know, I don't want to do that again. And so we're probably going to start off with, I don't plan on doing a lot of runs. I'm probably going to do like 4 or 5 maybe. And, you know, I almost don't even care what the 8th mile time is. I really just want to see what the 60-foot times are. That's kind of the testing that we're going after today. And, yeah, so we'll see what the, you know, what launch RPM. I'm probably going to try like 1500, 2000, 2500, you know, maybe something along like that, because, you know, I think the torque converter locks up at 2400, so I don't really want to be above that, but, you know, somewhere around there. Maybe one launch we even do like a 2200 launch, so we'll see. But we'll head to the track and see what the torque converter does. All right. All right, guys, you just saw me run the 4 runs that we got in at Mooresville last night. Overall, I'm actually very excited. You know, like I said in the intro when we were driving up there, wasn't really caring about my 8th mile times at all. I was more or less just wanted to see what my 60-foot times were going to be. So we actually have some good numbers to give you guys. But just to give you an overview, the temperature was about 60, 62 degrees outside. The DA was just about 1,100 feet. I think 1107. I'll have a screen cap of that here. And, you know, now we can actually get into the runs. So the first run of the night was at 6:18 p.m. I got there at about 5:30, so I gave the car roughly 45 minutes to cool down. You know, I changed the rear tires, and I pretty much sat in staging lanes for a little bit. So, like I said, about 45 minutes to cool down. The 60-foot was a 2.0. Oh, I forgot. You guys probably saw a really bad burnout and a really bad launch. Well, that's because I forgot to turn off traction control. I only turned it halfway off. On the SS, you have to press and hold the traction control button for over 10 seconds for it to turn all the way off. I learned that, of course, after this run. Even though I've gone drag racing a bunch of times in this car, I just forgot because it's been probably 5 months since the last time we went. So that ended up with a 2.07 60-foot time. The 8th mile time was a 8.07, and we trapped at 96.6 miles per hour, so almost 97. So remember that 96, because that'll be, you know, come up in later runs. And to give you more information, I launched at about 2,200 RPM, and, you know, that netted a 2.0 with a horrible 60-foot. For the second run, this was at 6:35 p.m., so roughly 15 minutes, 18 minutes after that other run, so I didn't really give the car a terrible long time to cool down. But the 60-foot was a 1.65. That is my best 60-foot time I've ever gotten, and I launched it at about 1,700 RPM. So brake torque at about 1,700. Got that 1.65 60-foot, and the quarter mile time ended up being a 7.5 at 96 miles per hour. So 7.5 and 96.6 again. So 96 round up 97 miles per hour. So that was the second run. The third run was at 6:59 p.m. So about 30 minutes later, give or take, you know, so I gave it a little bit more time to cool down. And this 60-foot time was a 1.81, which isn't that great. The launch RPM, I think, was 2,800 RPM, at least according to the video. That might be a little bit off. It might have been closer to 2,500. So, you know, take that into factor. The 8th mile time was a 7.6, so quicker, no, actually a little slower than the last run. And again, trapped at 96.6. And for the last run, we ran a 1.93 60-foot. I launched it at roughly 2,500 RPM. So again, you know, I think I stalled a little bit too high. And the 8th mile time was a 7.76. Again, trapped 96.3. So we're all at 96 miles per hour. So what do these runs show us? Well, it shows us the car is trapping, you know, a similar mile per hour each time. You know, nothing's real different. And the other thing I wanted to say, I forgot to say in the beginning of the video, I did not bring the skinnies with me. I only put the rear ET Street R's. They are actually still in the car. And we kept the tire pressure at 18, about 19 PSI throughout the whole runs. So, you know, tire pressure, I didn't adjust it at all. I was at 23, I dropped it to 19. And that was our basis for, you know, I wanted to try to keep things as scientific as we could. So no skinnies, just the ET Street R's, and the only thing we did was kind of vary the launch. And here's kind of my launch numbers. Again, these are rough estimates. So 2,200, 1,700, 2,800, and 2,500. The 1,700 actually got us the best 60-foot of the night, and that was at 1.65. So, you know, there's really two inconsistencies tonight. One was launch RPM, and the second was my traps, the ET itself. I varied from a 7.5 to over an 8.0, and you know, it's not any slower than before, it's not any faster, but the one thing was the 60-foot times. The higher I launched the car, the more it wanted to spin out. That's kind of the thing I've learned. And, you know, with the torque converter actually being installed in the car, I can actually brake torque it now. That's the one thing I was never able to do previously. You know, previously, basically just floor it and went, and that's the way we went. And that's how we had been drag racing for 2 years since we put the LSA supercharger on. And, you know, now that we've actually put a torque converter, you know, it flashes at a higher RPM, kind of allows us to play with the 60 foot a little bit, and we got that best of a 1.65. So I'm very happy with that. I just need to learn, probably launch it more often at around 1800 RPM, because it didn't spin at all. And I even said in the video, like, holy crap, this thing hooked real good. That was the first time, that 1.65, that's the first time the car has ever thrown me back in the seat. It almost felt like a roller coaster when when you take off. It threw me back in the seat and the car lifted. I'm sure if I had skinnies on the front of the car and I had a camera guy, like outside camera guy, I wouldn't be shocked if it pulled the front tires, if I had that combo. But, that's kind of the one thing I don't have any proof of, but, if we put the actual skinnies on the car, I think it would have lifted that front tire. That would have been pretty cool. But, this is just test and tune, and kind of the whole point of this video is just to get more practice, initial thoughts, practice, and just trying to be more consistent. And, for the very first time in this car, it's kind of like the Corvette. It's kind of down to the driver now. I've eliminated that kind of consistency of just pressing the go pedal and going when the light turns green. So, but overall, with this entire project, I'm actually very happy. We've gotten our 60 foot times down. I believe my previous best was a 1.78. We've gotten down to 1.65. And honestly, guys, that's just me. I'm sure if I had a better driver in the car, we could probably get that down even better. But I do want you guys to remember one thing. The entire rear end of this car is stock. Haven't touched anything. The suspension, okay, I touched the brakes. That's the only thing I've changed is the CTSV rear brakes. But suspension, springs, struts, control arms, everything's stock except for those ET Street Rs and the Motegi's, which, like I said, are in the car. But if you want to be able to cut better 60 foot times and you've done the LSA swap, maybe this entire project is a good thing to do and help you get quicker times. Now, that being said, I have not shown any quicker times in this video, but we have the potential to. If I can get everything lined up, a good 60 foot time, put the skinnies back on, and we might be able to drop the ETs. I think the saying is, if you get 1/10 in the 60 foot, you get 2/10 off at the end of the quarter mile. In 8th mile racing, you really can't see that just because you don't have that extra distance to go quicker. So that saying is only for quarter mile. I don't know for 8th mile, but that gives me some hope for this future when this summer when Z-Max opens back up. We can try varying the RPM on the launch and and send it. So that's gonna be it for today. I hope I gave you guys enough information on showing you the runs and then showing you the analysis after. I hope you guys enjoy this format. If you guys do, we'll keep going with this format, and we'll go from there. So if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. If you want to know when I upload new content, hit the bell notification button down below. And if you guys want to help support the channel, click all the links down below. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.